UFC Fight Night, Landwehr versus Dumont. Full card prediction. The main event, one of the worst main events, probably the worst main event of all time. Now, it could prove us wrong and be a pretty good fight, but in terms of the notoriety of Aspen Ladd and Norma Dumont, it's one of the worst main events I have ever seen. But that is the main event, a 5-round featherweight main event. Arlovski, Carlos Felipe in the co-main event of the heavyweight division. Eric Gonzalez and Jim Miller in the lightweight division. Manny Fiorot, then Bueno Silva in the women's flyweight division. Julian Marquez and Jordan Wright in the middleweight division. Another middleweight fight with Bruno Silva and Andrew Sanchez. Danny Roberts and Ramazan Emeev in the welterweight division. To Eubanks and Luana Carolina in the women's flyweight division. Klein and Nate Landwehr in the featherweight division. Brandon Davis, Dana Giral in the bantamweight division. And last, probably least to be quite honest, Ariane Carnelosi and Estela Nunes in the women's strawweight division. But some really solid fights on here. We don't really have that many humongous favorites in terms of betting odds right here. The biggest favorite of the card is Ludovic Klein, if I'm saying that name correctly, at minus 300. But most of the fights are pretty close. Minus 155, minus 130, and minus 130. Minus 155 right there. There's a lot of close fights in here, but a lot of cancellations as well. Daniel Santos, Marcelo Rojo, Kennedy Nzechukwu, Dawoon Jung, Tamor Valiev, Daniel Santos, Kelly Vieira, Misha Tate, Holly Holm, Norman Dumont, and then Marina Moroz and Luana Carolina. So many cancellations on the fight card right here, but we'll do with what we got. 11 fights, which is a little bit more than the last fight card with Dern and Rodriguez, but we're going to do our full card prediction right now, and we go on to the first fight right here in the women's strawweight division. Ariane Carnelosi and Estela Nunes in the women's strawweight division. Ariane Carnelosi is 13-2 as her professional MMA record. And she is jacked. I mean, if you look at her biceps, her triceps, just her whole body in general, she looks like Paulo Costa if Paulo Costa was 115 pounds and was a woman. I mean, Ariane Carnelosi, she's just absolutely jacked. She's really strong. Likes to go out there, put the pressure on the striking, take it down, and ground pound the heck out of you. Did that in her last fight with Nali Young, who's a good jiu-jitsu fighter, but she just could not land that submission on Ariane Carnelosi. Ariane just out-strengthened her and just dominated her on the ground. She's 28, almost 29 years old. Only one loss to Angela Hill inside the UFC, as well as one other loss way back in the day to Amanda Ribas back in 2014. Other than that, she's shown amazing wrestling, amazing grappling, amazing ground pound, everything like that. So this fight is really going to come down to, can Estela Nunes defend the takedown, and can Ariane Carnelosi get the takedown? That's pretty much what this fight does come down to, because Estela Nunes has not fought in quite a while. Her last fight in one championship 3 years ago. I'm not too sure how much her wrestling and grappling has improved. I've seen a little bit of a training footage from her Instagram, but that is about it. But she does have good counter striking. Definitely going to have the power advantage over Ariane Carnelosi on the feet, the height advantage, the reach advantage. If she can keep range, stay away from the pressure of Ariane Carnelosi, defend the takedowns, I believe she can definitely outpoint Ariane Carnelosi in the striking game to a decision. Out of all of her wins, she does have a head kick knockout win and a knee knockout win, but not really the biggest finisher out there. So if she's going to be Ariane Carnelosi, I do think it is going to be a decision in the striking game, mainly counter punching, because there's no way she's going to come forward on Ariane Carnelosi, because she's going to get taken down. So this fight most likely is going to be spent on the ground of the Ariane Carnelosi, just out wrestling and gratifying the heck out of Estela Nunes. But I can definitely see Estela Nunes defending some of these takedowns, keeping the fight on the feet at range, and winning a very close decision win in the striking game. That's definitely a possibility. Estela Nunes will have the striking advantage, but Ariane Carnelosi will have the wrestling and grappling and grappling advantage. So I'm going to go, because women's MMA, it really comes down to, do you have the wrestling and grappling? Because there's so many fighters out there. The striking is going to be very even. It really comes down to how good your wrestling and grappling is. And if the rounds are very close in the striking, Ariane Carnelosi can mix in a takedown, a little bit of ground pound as well, and steal the round. So my prediction right here in the women's strawweight division, sorry about that, is going to be Ariane Carnelosi going out there, put it on the pressure on Estela Nunes in the striking, taking her down, and Giral hunting the heck out of her to a 30-27 decision. Really good fight in the women's strawweight division. Brandon Davis and Danha and Giral in the bantamweight division. Danha and Giral coming off some very, very solid knockout wins, both with that counter left hook. One over Guido Ganetti, guy that's like 42, 43 years old, if I'm getting that age correctly. And then the other in Kevin Natividad, who really does not have the best chin. Guido is 41 years old right now. Kevin Natividad with 9 wins, 3 losses. Every single loss being a knockout in the first or third round. So the two guys he did knock out weren't really the best in the chin and were pretty old fighters. But his only loss has come to Haley Alante and then Basaku Damlin Porev way back in 2015. But the striking of Dana Bottingero is of course what's gonna get him the win right here. He's got way better boxing, way better counter punching than Brandon Davis as well. Brandon is gonna be a little bit taller, a little bit lengthier by 2 inches in reach and 3 inches in height right there. Most likely is gonna be looking to keep range, stay away from that power left hook of Dana Bottingero. Just jab 1-2, stay on the outside, and use the kicking game at range. And that's gonna be the main way Brandon Davis wins. Is gonna be at range, using the reach, using the height, and using the kicks at range. And then maybe mixed in a couple of takedowns as well. That would be the main way I see Brandon Davis winning. But overall, Dana Bottingero, he's gonna be way more powerful than Brandon Davis. If he can keep a similar amount of volume to Brandon Davis, he's gonna land the more powerful strikes, and the judges will give him the win. Brandon Davis, I'm not too sure how many times he's been knocked out before. I don't think it's been very much. He's literally never been knocked out in his professional MMA career, and the only guys that Dana Bottingero is knocking out are guys with very, very weak chins and very old fighters as well. So I don't see a finish here from either guy. I definitely see this fight going all the way. Dana Bottingero keeping the fight on the feet, coming forward, putting the pressure on Brandon Davis, not allowing him to keep range, jab 1-2, leg kick, all that type of stuff that he's going to be looking to do, defending the takedowns of Brandon Davis. And just outboxing Brandon Davis. He's more powerful. He's faster. He's got way more power, way more explosiveness as well. He's got the better counter punching. So no matter where this fight goes in the striking, I'm gonna go Dana Bottingero to win. The kicking game of Dana Bottingero isn't really the best. The way you're gonna beat a guy like Dana is to keep range, jab 1-2, and leg kick. But if he's able to put on the pressure, which I think he will, he's gonna win the fight by decision. But it is a much closer fight than these betting odds do suggest. Minus 200 plus 160 right there. I think it's a little bit closer because Brandon Davis could definitely just out volume him and just stay at range and just keep on kicking for the decision. But overall, I am going to go Dana Bottingero. It is a very close fight in the bantamweight division, but my prediction, Dana Bottingero winning that fight by unanimous decision. Really good fight in the bantamweight division. Ludwig Klein and Nate Landwehr in the featherweight division. Nate Landwehr, not really the best chin recently, getting knocked out by Julian Erosa as well as Herbert Burns. That's pretty sad. To be knocked out by Herbert Burns in the very first round, yes, that's not too good of a look right there. But his other 2 losses are a decision and a submission loss. If Nate Landwehr is gonna win the fight, it's gonna be high volume, high pressure, because that's how he's gonna win. I mean, I believe he lands like 7 to 8 strikes every single minute inside of the UFC, which is absolutely insane. But this fight with Ludwig Klein, Ludwig is gonna be the more powerful striker. He's gonna be the faster striker. He's gonna have a 1.5 inch reach advantage. He's got amazing leg kicks. Really powerful, hard, high kicks as well. This is really going to be a striking masterpiece, in my opinion, for Ludwig Klein. With 17 wins and 13 losses. Pretty much every single one of them being a head kick or leg kick or just a straight up knockout in the first or second round. But if you look right here, I mean, head kick knockout win in the first round, head kick knockout win in the first round, head kick knockout win in the third, and then another head kick in the first. We know he's got the head kick. We know he's got the body kick. Everything can do to the kicks, Ludwig Klein will have the advantage. So right here, I see Nate Landwehr just coming forward, putting on the pressure on Ludwig Klein. Ludwig being on the back foot, playing the counter-punching game, and eventually, as Nate Landwehr comes in, he's going to catch him with a left high kick on Nate Landwehr and knock him out in the first or second round. Easy prediction right there. Nate Landwehr's chin has not really looked good in the last couple of years. Getting knocked out by Herbert Burns isn't the best look yet. The Julian Erosa one wasn't, I mean, he wasn't knocked out cold. It was a little bit controversial, but still, I'm going to go Ludwig Klein to win in the fight. He's faster, more powerful. if he can keep the same amount of volume, he can definitely win a decision. But the chin and Nate Landwehr definitely does concern me. So I am going to go with Ludwig Klein to win the fight by knockout in the first or second round. A really good fight in the featherweight division. So Jara Eubanks and Luana Carolina in the women's flyweight division. Luana Carolina isn't really like the high level flyweight fighter. Neither is Jara Eubanks. They're both girls that I personally think are going to stay right outside of the top 20 of the women's flyweight or bantamweight division for pretty much their whole entire career. I don't see either of these girls really raking in the points to get in the top 15 or anything like that. Luana is going to be a lot younger, a lot taller, a lot lengthier. Overall, going to have the better Muay Thai than Sijara Eubanks, but we all know Sijara Eubanks. We know exactly what she's going to try to do right here. Come forward, throw some big shots, go down for the takedown, and pretty much do the exact same thing that she did to Elise Reed in the last fight right there. Most of her wins are really against the best competition. Yeah, she's got some decent ones over Roxanne Modafferi right there, Lauren Murphy, Julia Villa's a decent one right there, and then Elise Reed, but she's only losing to top 15 fighters. Pandy Kianza's in the top 15, Kelly Vieira is in the top 15, Aspen Ladd is in the top 15, Besh Koheda, let's just not talk about that, that's pretty sad. And then Aspen Ladd, Kaylin Chukagian again. So the only one of her losses is against a fighter that is outside of the top 15, but someone that was inside the top 15 and fought for the UFC bantamweight strap. So all of the opponents that Sijara Eubanks is losing to are decent opponents. But Luana Carolina, she's got good Muay Thai, she's got very solid striking, leg kicks, body kicks, 1-2s, good right hand as well. But Sijara Eubanks, it doesn't matter. You can have a good advantage over Sijara Eubanks in the striking, but I've seen many times Luana Carolina has been taken down fairly easily, and Sijara Eubanks, I mean, what she showed in the last fight with a significantly smaller opponent in Elise Reed, I mean, of course, she was a lot smaller, but I still think Sijara Eubanks is going to go out there and out-wrestle, out-grapple Luana Carolina, potentially getting another ground upon TKO, or maybe a submission, but I do think the fight goes all the way. Sijara Eubanks in the wrestling and grappling game, dominating Luana Carolina to a unanimous decision. Really good fight in the women's flyweight division. Danny Roberts and Ramazan Emeev in the welterweight division. I'm going to say right now, this is not going to be a fight that's going to be fight of the night. There's no chance, in my opinion, that Danny Roberts or Ramazan Emeev is going to be a fight of the night. Ramazan Emeev, his style is literally to go out there, kind of point fight in the striking, and then get a takedown and kind of hug you. He literally gets you down and he hugs you, little tip taps here and there, little ground pound tip taps, but he's really going out there just to get control time and win the decision. Out of his last couple of wins, split decision on David Zawada. I don't know how it was a split decision. Decision went on Nicolas Stoles. Decision wins Steven Zakulik, a buttload of other decision wins, a couple of submission wins, an M1 challenge over there, a couple of other finishes, but recently, since 2016, he has 0 finishes, every single win, a majority split, or a unanimous decision, only losing to Anthony Rocco Martin right there, but we know his game plan. Go out there, point fight on Danny Roberts for a little bit. Danny Roberts is going to have the power advantage, so he's going to need to stay at range, have Danny come to him, land the takedown, and grind out another decision in the wrestling and ground and pound game. But Danny Roberts, he doesn't have the best chin. I mean, 17 wins, 5 losses. Got knocked out by Michel Bejeda. Michel Bejeda is a pretty solid striker. Got knocked out by Nordine Taleb. Not the best look right there. Getting knocked out by Mike Perry. Also not necessarily the best look right there. But yeah, he doesn't have the best chin in my opinion. But again, he's fighting Ramazan Emeev. So is that chin really going to be that big of a factor? I really don't think so. But if he can go out there like he did against Zalim Imadaev and just start throwing some really big shots on Ramazan Emeev and defend the takedowns of Ramazan Emeev, he can definitely win the fight. But Ramazan Emeev, we know he's probably going to win the fight. He's going to go out there and he's going to win the decision. My prediction right there for Ramazan Emeev and Danny Roberts is going to be Danny Roberts kind of winning in the striking exchanges, but coming forward eventually, because it's going to be a very boring fight. Danny Roberts eventually is going to come forward and throw a big shot. He's going to overextend a little bit. Ramazan Emeev is going to go down, get the takedown, and stay on top for 3 straight rounds. Easy prediction right here. Boring fight in the welterweight division. I'm probably not even gonna watch it. I might watch it, but still, it's not gonna be a fight that I'm really looking forward to, because Ramazan is really just gonna lay on top of him for 3 straight rounds to a decision. But it is a strategy. It's probably gonna work right here. So my prediction for Ramazan Emeev and Danny Roberts is Ramazan Emeev by a very boring decision. Not the best fight in the women's. I just said women's. In the welterweight division right there. Andrew Sanchez and Bruno Silva in the middleweight division. Bruno Silva has a lot of power. If you look at how many of those 20 professional MMA wins are knockouts, we got 17 knockouts, 0 submissions, and then 3 decisions right there. 0 losses by decision as well. Has been submitted 5 times in his professional MMA career and has been knocked out 1 time. That was against Vitor Miranda on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil Season 3. But we know this man has a lot of power. We saw him in the last fight. He got taken down by Wellington Turman and got back up, and then he knocked him out. I mean, he showed crazy power in the fight with Wellington Turman. He was out for quite a while, but he did get taken down by Wellington Turman. Yeah, Wellington Turman has a decent wrestling and grappling game, pretty similar to Andrew Sanchez. I would say Andrew Sanchez has a little bit better wrestling and grappling than Wellington Turman, but the chin of Wellington Turman and Andrew Sanchez, I would say, are very even. Their chins are absolute garbage. Andrew Sanchez's chin and Bruno Silva's chin, horrible, absolute dog water in my opinion, because Andrew Sanchez, I mean, he did the chicken dance on Mahmoud Murado really bad and got knocked out in the 3rd round. Got knocked out by Ryan James of all people. Yeah, he got knocked out by Anthony Smith right there, but knocked out by Kevin Casey. I mean, the chin of this man just really is not the best, and if you add that with the power that Bruno Silva has more power than Murado. He's got more power than Ryan James, more power than Anthony Smith. He has a lot more power than all of the guys that have been knocking out Andrew Sanchez in the past. So with that glass chin of Andrew Sanchez and with the power of Bruno Silva, most likely than not, we're going to see Bruno Silva go out there and just starch Andrew Sanchez in the 1st and 2nd round and get a knockout. But what does worry me, again, I'm not 100% on Bruno Silva. I'm not totally confident on Bruno Silva to win, because we saw the last fight with Wellington Turman. We saw the fact that he got taken down very easily at the beginning of that 1st round. He did end up getting back up on the feet and knocking him out, but just that alone, getting taken down by Wellington Turman, does worry me a little bit. But again, he got right back up, then ended up knocking out. I think that's what's going to happen here. They're going to strike for a little bit. Andrew Sanchez is going to land a takedown. Bruno Silva is going to use his strength and get back up. He's going to get Andrew Sanchez back to the cage, and he's going to knock him out with a big right hand. It's going to be a good fight, in my opinion. I believe Andrew Sanchez is just going to go all out in the wrestling and grappling, because he does not want to strike with Bruno Silva. But either way, Bruno Silva is 100%, in my opinion. If he's going to win, it's going to be a knockout. So my prediction right here, Bruno Silva by knockout in the 1st or 2nd round. A really good fight in the middleweight division. Julian Marquez and Jordan Wright in the middleweight division. I believe Jordan Wright is going to be the better fighter in the 1st round. Julian Marquez is going to be the better fighter in the 3rd round. The 2nd round, I really have no idea. Now, will it even go to the 2nd round? Will it even go to the 3rd round? It's very likely that it will not, because Julian Marquez and Jordan Wright definitely have the finishing potential. Julian Marquez with 5 knockout wins, 4 submission wins. Out of the losses, both of them coming by a decision. Never been finished as a professional MMA fighter. Jordan Wright with 12 wins, 1 loss. Only 1 loss to Joaquin Buckley by knockout in the 2nd round, but every single win being a knockout or a submission win. So both guys here have every single win being a finish in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd round, and that is why I don't think we're going to see a finish. If Jordan Wright's going to win, it's going to be in the 1st or 2nd round by knockout. If Julian Marquez is going to win, it's going to be in the 2nd or 3rd round by knockout. But this fight right here, Jordan Wright is going to be the way better kickboxer, way better in karate. He's going to be the better fighter at range. He's going to be the same height, but way longer in terms of reach. Julian Marquez's game plan for the fight against Jordan Wright is literally just to pressure the heck out of him, come forward, get his back to of the cage just like Joaquin Buckley did and just start throwing some really big shots and look for that knockout. But Jordan Wright really does do a good job of keeping range. He wasn't able to do that against Joaquin Buckley because it's Joaquin Buckley. He puts on some relentless pressure and just puts on some really big shots. I don't think Julian Marquez can do the same thing that Joaquin Buckley did. I believe Joaquin is a slightly better striker than Julian Marquez, way better closing the distance. I don't know how well Julian will be able to close the distance, get Jordan Wright's back to the cage, and then land those big shots. So I do think Jordan Wright's going to win the fight. It is my first underdog pick of the night, but I do think Jordan Wright is going to keep the fight at range in the first round, jabbing a 1-2 and using that reach advantage by 5 inches just to keep on tip-tapping Julian Marquez at range, leg kicks, body kicks, those switch kicks as well. And as Julian Marquez is coming in, I think he's going to counter him with a pretty big shot and possibly knock out Julian Marquez. But I was originally thinking that we'd probably see a finish here because Jordan Wright and Julian Marquez both have a heck of a lot of finishes. But Julian Marquez has never been finished. I mean, there's been many times where he's been very close to being knocked out, but never has he actually went fully out and unconscious. So I'm going to go Jordan Wright by a decision here. I think the first round, he's going to out-volume him with a kicking game and the jabs and the 1-2s at range. Using that reach advantage, I think he's going to do the exact same thing in the second round. In the third round, the cardio machine in Julian Marquez is going to make that humongous comeback, maybe possibly almost knock out Jordan Wright and win that third round. But I do think the first and second round are going to go Jordan Wright in terms of the volume game, because he literally is just going to use that reach and use the kicks at range and win the first and second round. Now the third round, when the cardio comes into play, that's where Julian really thrives in those later rounds, and he'll win the third round. But overall, the first and second round, I do have it going to Jordan Wright. The third round going to Julian Marquez. But overall, it's going to be a very close fight. Would not be surprised if we do see a finish, but I think the fight goes all the way. My prediction, Jordan Wright by unanimous decision, 29-28. Actually, let's say split decision. I think it's going to be a very close fight. But my prediction, Jordan Wright by split decision. Really good fight in the middleweight division right there. Manny Fiorot and Mayra Bueno Silva in the women's flyweight division. Mayra Bueno Silva needs to go out there and wrestle and grapple. Out of her 7 wins and 1 loss, she's got a lot of submission wins. Armbar win, and then ninja choke submission win. But pretty much in all of those submission wins that she does have, she's getting taken down. Her takedown and her wrestling offense really is not the best. I mean, if she's going to go out there and take down Manny Fiorot, I would be very surprised, because every single time she was able to actually latch in that submission, it was her opponent taking her down, which I think is a stupid move, but they were the one initiating the wrestling and grappling on Mayra Bueno Silva. I don't think Mayra Bueno Silva is going to be able to land a takedown on the absolute beast that is Manny Fiorot right there. Manny Fiorot is just the way better striker, has shown 100% takedown defense, and it's just going to be the overall way better striker. I mean, her last 2 fights inside the UFC over Victoria Leonardo and then Tabathichi right there, and pretty much every other fight, she's shown some really good power. I mean, along with Ciryl Gane and now Manny Fiorot, we have some really good up-and-coming stars that are coming from France to the UFC. Second round at standing TKO, and pretty much all of these ones as well also being standing TKO. So she's got the power. She's going to come forward, defend the takedowns of Mayra Bueno Silva, keep the fight in the feet, put on the pressure on Mayra, and get yet another standing TKO, just like she did it 2 other times. Easy prediction right here. I think she should be a little bit bigger of a favorite on the betting odds, but what can I say? Manny Fiorot is an absolute beast. Cannot wait to see this fight. My prediction, Manny Fiorot by a second round at ground upon TKO or a standing TKO. Really good fight in the women's flyweight division. Jim Miller and Eric Gonzalez in the lightweight division. Jim Miller, of course, is going to have the wrestling advantage. He's going to have the grappling advantage. Might actually have the boxing advantage as well. Eric Gonzalez is going to be 3 inches taller and is going to have a 3-inch reach advantage, which could help him in terms of the range striking, kind of jab and a 1-2 and leg kick and body kick and all that type of stuff. He does have a very solid kicking game at range, which is really going to be what gets him the win. Is going to be in the striking game. Literally just trying to outpoint Jim Miller, because I don't think Eric Gonzalez is going to necessarily knock out Jim Miller. Jim Miller has been finished in quite a while. I don't even remember the last time he's been finished, unless it was an actual UFC UFC champion in Charles Oliveira, or a top 5 lightweight fighter right there in Dan Hooker. I mean, he got a majority decision loss against Dustin Poirier. Absolutely insane, but this man right here, he's fought the who's who of the lightweight and welterweight division. Eric Gonzalez is nowhere near the who's who of this welterweight division. He's going to be 14 wins and 5 losses right there. He's got good leg case, good body case, good jabs, 1-2s. He's going to have maybe a slight striking advantage right here in terms of volume and in terms of speed, but Jim Miller is going to go out there. He's going to take down Eric Gonzalez fairly easily, and I do think he's going to be able to submit Eric Gonzalez in the first or second round because out of all of his losses, a rear naked choke submission loss and then a couple more decision losses, mainly due to guys literally just taking him down and looking for that submission. So if Eduardo Silva can submit him, if Andres Quintana can submit him right there, if Javier Garcia can out-grapple, out-wrestle him, I 100% think that Jim Miller will out-wrestle, out-grapple Eric Gonzalez to a armbar submission win, to a rear naked submission win, to an arm triangle choke submission win. I really have no idea how Jim Miller's going to get the finish right here, but Jim Miller, easiest prediction of the night. I wish I got a bet on him a little bit earlier. His odds were at like -170 at one point. I did miss out on that one, but it's an easy prediction. Jim Miller by submission in the second or third round. A really good fight in the lightweight division. Andre Arlovski and Carlos Felipe in the co-main event of UFC Fight Night Ladd versus Dumont. And to be quite honest, I might honestly rather see Carlos Felipe and Andre Arlovski in the main event. I'm not even joking right now, but overall, it should definitely be a really good fight in the heavyweight division. 26 and a half years old, and then 42 and a half years old. The 3-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage right there. Andre Arlovski, a former heavyweight champion, has been fighting for a very, very long time, coming off decision wins over Felipe Lins, Ben Rothwell, Tanner Boser, Chase Sherman, only losing to top 15 guys in Shamil Abdurrahimov, Tai Tuivasa, Walt Harris, Augusto Sakai, Jorginho Rosenstrike, and then Tom Aspinall right there, Marcin Tybura, Francis Ngannou, Alistair Overeem, and Steve Miocic. Pretty much every single guy that he is losing to is in the top 15 of the heavyweight division. Literally every single one of them, which is absolutely insane. But right here, the way he's going to beat a guy like Carlos Felipe is to do what he always does. I mean, Andre Arlovski never really goes for the finish. Out of all the wins, we just looked at them, but when was the last time we saw Andre Arlovski get a knockout? Travis Brown and Antonio Silva, a bunch of other older guys in their UFC careers. He's not going to knock out Carlos Felipe right here. And he doesn't really have the hunger to go for the knockout, as he literally has not gone really big swinging and going for the knockout in any of his last, I would say, 10 fights. But right here in the fight with Carlos Felipe, Andre Arlovski is literally just going to go out there and try to point strike Carlos Felipe. Literally just out-volume Carlos to a 29-28 decision win, just like he did with Tanner Boser, just like he did with let's see right here, Felipe Lins, and just like he did with Chase Sherman. With this fight right here with Carlos Felipe and Andre Arlovski, I do think that Carlos Felipe is going to be one of those guys that unlike Chase Sherman, unlike Tanner Boser, unlike Felipe Lins, is not going to just stay back like this, jab, 1-2, leg case. He's not going to do that. Carlos Felipe is going to come forward, and he's going to put on heavy pressure on Andre Arlovski. That is the way I think you beat this new Andre Arlovski, who's pretty much beating all the guys inside of the top 30 of the heavyweight division. The way you're going to beat this new Andre Arlovski is literally just to pressure the heck out of him. Tom Aspinall pressured the heck out of him, got the takedown, got the submission. Carlos Felipe, if he goes out there and can pressure the heck out of Andre Arlovski, I do think he will win the fight by another very close to 29-28 decision. I think he goes out there, literally just pressures him for 3 straight rounds, maybe loses one round because Andre does do a good job of kicking at range, leg kicking, body kicking, jab with 1-2, and maybe out volumes Carlos Felipe in one of those rounds. Well, the other 2 rounds, I think go to Carlos Felipe, landing the more powerful strikes and putting on the pressure in every single round. So my prediction right here in the heavyweight division is going to be Carlos Felipe coming forward, putting on the pressure, and winning the fight in the striking game right there by 29-28. Very close, a unanimous decision. Really close fight in the heavyweight division right there. Norma Dumont Dumont and Hasbinlad in the UFC featherweight division on short notice after Holly Holm pulled out of the fight. Not too sure why she pulled out, but now we have one of the worst main events of all time. And I'm going to make my prediction. This fight just got announced, I believe, 1 or 2 days ago, but I'm going to make my early prediction on Friday, October 8th. Hasbinlad, more of a wrestler, grappler, grinding, pounding type of girl. Norma Dumont keeping that fight on the feet like she did in her last 2 fights with Felicia Spencer, where she looked really, really good, and the fight with Ashley Evans Smith, where she also looked very, very good. Only one loss to Megan Anderson, another former title challenger in this featherweight division. But yeah, I'm gonna make my prediction for this one because it could be close. It could definitely be close because Norma Dumont throws a heck of a lot more volume than Hasbinlad on the feet. She's got way more power than Hasbinlad. Hasbinlad has been knocked out in the fight with Jermaine the Randomy. Her striking kind of revolves on her just coming forward, throwing some big shots and going for the takedown. Is not really centered on like using the takedowns to set up her strikes. She's using the strikes to set up her takedowns. It's the complete opposite of Norma Dumont. But Norma Dumont should go out there and destroy Hasbinlad on the feet, and Hasbinlad should go out there and destroy Norma Dumont on the ground. It's another one of those fights where it just matters where the fight's gonna go, and how are you gonna know where the fight's gonna go? Because it really can Hasbinlad get the takedown on Norma, or can she not? And this time she's not gonna really have to worry about the weight cut all too much, because it's gonna be in the 145-pound division. Yeah, they're both moving up to the 145-pound division. I mean, Norma Dumont, her last fight was in featherweight, but they're both gonna have a significantly easier weight cut this time around. And I don't think the cardio of either girl really is gonna play that big of a factor, but the reason she has more significant strikes landed per minute is literally just because of the ground and pound. All of her wins, she's literally, like, all of the strikes are ground and pound. Against Jermaine Randomy, the one fight that stayed on the feet, she had 0 strikes landed and then got knocked out. Against Yana Kunitskaya, she got 2 takedowns, then landed quite a bit of ground and pound shots right there. 25 ground and pound shots. And then on the feet, she honestly looked pretty good against Yana Kunitskaya, 21-20. But this fight right here, I mean, Yana Kunitskaya compared to Norma Dumont is a much better striker. She's got way more speed, way more power, puts a little bit more pressure on. I mean, she looked really solid in the last fight with Felicia Spencer in the strike, and she got a takedown on Felicia Spencer, which I thought was very impressive for a girl like Norma Dumont, who usually doesn't really go out there with a high wrestling and grappling game. I mean, she usually mixes in one, maybe 2 takedowns. She did it against Megan Anderson. She did that a little bit against Ashley Evans Smith to get a little bit of ground and pound there, but usually she's not really going for the takedowns. And to take down a girl like Felicia Spencer, that is very impressive. So a lot of people are going to go Hasbinlad to win the fight. The betting odds are going Hasbinlad to win the fight. If we can go down here, if I can find it, let's see if I can find it. Norma Dumont, that's not the right one. Norma Dumont versus Hasbinlad is pretty much a 50-50 fight. -108 and -108. So a very close one. And I'm going to go with a slight underdog here. I'm gonna go with the slight underdog. I mean, she's an underdog on most of them. I mean, some of them she is a 50-50 fight, -115, -115. But I'm gonna go to the underdog in Norma Dumont right here. I think the fact that she's able to take down girls like Felicia Spencer and defend pretty much every takedown she's encountered inside the UFC. She's never been taken down inside the UFC. Now, Hasbinlad is a much better wrestler than most of the girls she's been fighting, but still, she's never been taken down. She's taken down some really good wrestlers, and she's gonna have a significantly better striking game than Hasbinlad, more power, more speed, and everything like that. So I'm going to go with the underdog right here. I'm going to go with Norma Dumont going out there and winning this fight. It is a 5-round fight. So I'm going to go Norma Dumont by 48-47 decision. I don't think Norma's going to knock out Hasbinlad. She doesn't have that type of power. I mean, 2 decision wins on Ashley Evans Smith, and then a couple more decision wins. I mean, I don't even think she has any knockouts on her record. She does have some good power, but not enough to really finish that fight. Yeah, 0 knockout wins on her record. So I think the fight is going to go all the way. Norma Dumont wins the fight by 48-47 unanimous decision. Really good fight in the women's, not a good fight in the women's featherweight division. One of the worst main events of all time, but it could be a good fight if we see a lot of striking and a lot of takedown defense attempts from Norma Dumont. If she can keep on defending that takedown, this could be a really good fight, really good striking war in the women's featherweight division. But put your predictions in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and everything like that. And we'll see you in the next video. Let's go. Yeah, guys, that is my full card prediction for UFC Fight Night Landwehr versus Dumont. 11 fights on the entire fight card. I got Norma Dumont winning her fight by decision, Carlos Felipe by a very close split decision, Jim Miller by submission in the second or third round, Manny Fiorot by standing TKO, Jordan Wright winning that fight by a decision. Very unlikely we'll see a decision, but I got a feeling. Bruno Silva by knockout, Ramazan Emeev by a decision, Sajar Eubanks by a decision, Ludwig Klein by knockout, Dana by Giral winning that fight, most likely by a decision. I don't think he's going to finish Brandon Davis, and then Arlovski winning that fight by a decision. Really good fight card for a UFC Fight Night Landwehr versus Dumont. I'm being very sarcastic. This is not a good fight card. In case you did not notice, I was definitely being very sarcastic with that. This is not a good fight card. I mean, the main event is Norma Dumont Aspen Ladd. Like one of the guys in the comment section did say, it can be an Invicta FC main event, to be quite honest with you. But overall, we might see some pretty good finishes. I'm really hyped about Manny Fiorot. Very curious to see if Bruno Silva can continue that knockout streak. I really want to see Ramazan Emeev, Danny Roberts. More sarcasm, that fight's going to be horrible. But overall, not the best fight card. But those are my predictions for UFC Fight Night Landwehr versus Dumont. Put your predictions in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and everything like that. And we'll see you in the next video. Let's go.